Welcome to episode number 2 of Brian's Back, the show where we talk about the Beach Boys from 1974 to 1978 in the Brian's Back era. This show, we're going to just jump right into it and talk about February 15th, 1974. This day, the Beach Boys were performing at Utah State University in Logan, Utah. The venue was the Spectrum. The opening act was the country musician Jim Stafford. Now, Jim Stafford has just been crawling up the charts recently with a song called Spiders and Snakes. He was kind of a country slash comedian. And eventually this song would reach number 3 in the US, number 14 in the UK, number 19 in Australia, and number 1 in Canada. And then as you see from the pictures at this show, Dennis was wearing a full tuxedo for unknown reasons, which we still don't know to this day, so I don't know if we'll ever know. One of the interesting things about this specific show that I found was this article from the USU student paper called Student Life. This was published on February 15th, 1974, so this was the day of the concert. They published this in the paper, and it was really it's really cool because it tells you kind of where the public consciousness of the Beach Boys is at this point. They're really focused on the nostalgia already. This is before Endless Summer, so this kind of shows you where, as I said in episode number 1, Guercio's mindset was at with bringing in a lot of the oldies and getting rid of some of the newer songs that they were performing. So I'm just going to go through this article. It's entitled Beach Boys Recollection of Past by J. Chris Larson. Tonight, for me, marks the return of some things I enjoy remembering. The Beach Boys, whatever or wherever they were, or whoever they were, now were all the rage when I was still a kid in high school. Nobody knows how bad I wanted to have a surfer haircut, but all the other signs were there. Pegged pants, white heavy socks, and collarless shirts made up my entire wardrobe. Gym shoes and wingtips rounded out the attire. Everybody in town wanted a Little Deuce Coupe or a 409. The only kid I knew who had a 409 couldn't ever drive it anywhere but up and down Maine because his dad could barely afford liability insurance on it. I met a California guy once who became a folk hero of sorts in my town. The first time he played basketball with us, we saw that he had surfer knobs on his knees. Wow, that was really cool. All the gang was really concerned with being true to your school, too. I remember lots of big fights after basketball and football games because someone had dared to mimic our school mascot. The Beach Boys were and are a summer group. Just listening to the record player in the UC basement this week almost tricked me into thinking summer had come. I half expected to see a giant wave roll down the hall, taking with it the Army, Navy, Peace Corps, and Dane Goodwin and his pamphlets. What a wipeout. All summer long, we used to wait for the day in late July and early August when the Beach Boys would be appearing at the lagoon. You could afford the gas then, and the cars formed an endless trail to the entrance near the roller coaster. At $4 or $5 a ticket, it had to be the biggest date of the summer. I even managed to buy a '55 Chevy. That was my pride and joy. It wasn't fancy, no pipes or tuck and roll, but I bet I had put 14,000 miles on it driving up and down main streets. Never did race anyone, but the straight strip of the road west of town was busy almost every night with those kids who looked like they were always driving downhill. The 409s, 383s, even the 283s were always there. I had a teacher named Wendy. Brian Wilson never knew how much joy he brought to our class when she walked in and the record played Hit right between the eyes with Wendy. She turned redder than a cherry coupe. Tonight, I'm going to put on my Hawaiian shirt that glows in the dark and be really hip. I'm going to remember that I did grow up to be a man, as most little boys do. I'm going to remember all those good things the Beach Boys music means to me. Above all, I'm going to go and enjoy myself. Living in the past? maybe, but I wouldn't miss this one for a couple of chili burgers. So as we see from this article, there's some cool, interesting lyric references in here that are pretty unique for the time for 1974. They must have been listening to a lot of the old Beach Boys songs, especially a song like "Cherry Cherry Coupe." That's kind of a rare song, a song that not everybody knows. So this person seems like they're very into the Beach Boys' early sound, which is really cool in 1974 that we're already seeing this. Yeah, that was the only article I could find on this specific show, but there were a number of pictures that have been available over the years in different publications that I was able to kind of cobble together and kind of give you an idea of what exactly the show looked like and what the guys looked like at the time. Anyways, thank you for watching our show. Please subscribe if you haven't already, and if you want some more content from me, I am also on the Good Timing podcast, the Beach Boys podcast, and I am also on the Reddit forums. If you have any questions for me, please feel free to leave them in the forums or on YouTube, and I will try to get back as soon as possible. Thank you, and have a great day. We'll see you soon.